This is not an episode you want to miss. Me and Donni argue again.
I think that you went from one extreme to the other. I believe that what Dave Ramsey teaches is valuable but incomplete.
Oh my gosh, Dave Ramsey, I don't want to read this. I think he's done a marvelous job of zeroing in on an audience and teaching them his philosophy, and I think his philosophy is right for that particular audience.
Dave Ramsey has built this cult-like community. And if you go into his community and you say, oh no, because credit is good, they're attacking you. Credit is not good. It's never good. You should live like a nomad and blah, 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 blah.
How long does it take people to figure out that these pieces of plastic called credit cards are not there for you? How long does it take to figure out that, oh, here's Bank of America? Let's do an on-air plastic surgery right now. We're just going to start chopping up cards. Bank of America. That's two good things to get rid of. Credit card and Bank of America. Both stupid.
Dave Ramsey's information is flat out incomplete. You get out of debt, but you're not going to build any wealth with that advice.
It's $1 trillion of you buying crap you can't afford with money you don't have to impress people you don't even really like. Maybe you should stop that.
You're going to fully understand why Dave Ramsey is not teaching you how to build wealth. I find it highly offensive that everybody in the room knew who Dave Ramsey was. Nobody knows who John Hope Bryan is.
He's not teaching how to leverage real estate and exactly what you need to do like Robert Kiyosaki. He's not teaching grass level.
Kiyosaki teaching? He ain't teaching black people, that's for damn sure. That's not his target audience. These educators that you're looking up to with this information, for the most part, guess where they got their information from? A book.
There are like secrets in these books that will lie there until you pick up the book. The sad part is, we're just never gonna pick up the book. Live in the episode, we found a hack that is going to change your life and is right on your cell phone. You have to pay attention to this element of the podcast.
That's it, I'm shutting it down right now.
Good morning, you all. Welcome. Our live audience is here. Excited to put on a show for you all today. I don't know. I kind of have an idea based on what we were talking about, but how was your week? Give me something amazing. How are you feeling? How's your mental? How's your emotional?
My week is amazing. Mentally, I'm doing very well. You know what? It's amazing what happens when you just change your environment. Like when you start getting into an environment where you feel complacent or stagnant, you feel unproductive, which is what, you know, I had been saying that I felt in my last home. Like, it's just like every time I walk in, I don't feel creative. I feel like I just want to lay down and scroll social media. And since I've made my move over the last 3, maybe 4 weeks, like I made more money this month than I have all year.
Good.
Well, not,
clap that up, guys.
Yeah. Not more money this month than I have all year. This is my highest revenue generating month of the year. Doesn't matter.
A little bit though, for context.
No, doesn't matter. I definitely, like, it's like I'm back. I came back, you know what I mean? So mentally, I'm feeling amazing. Emotionally, everything is on track. I got booked last night to do a VIP day with one of my mentees in Bermuda. So I'm going to Bermuda in December. I'm super excited about that.
How much was it? How much is a VIP day?
It's a fee.
Somebody else might want to book that.
Somebody else might. If they are a member of the Actionable CEO community, they get a discount.
Text me how much it is.
Okay.
Seriously.
No, because you're just going to
I'm not going to say it out loud. I'm not going to say it out loud.
I don't date pricing, you know what I mean?
I wouldn't say it out loud, but I mean, I want to do some VIP days.
You should. Absolutely.
Text me how much you charge, how much your discount is.
I'll help you structure it. How about that?
No.
Even better.
I just want a number.
I think that you should offer VIP days at a discounted rate to morning meetup, and then offer them, like I'm about to offer them to the public, but Actionable CEO gets them at a significantly lesser rate. Also bringing me to like clarity. Like I just wake up in the morning and I feel so clear. Like I struggled to get things done last year really, really badly. And I'm just knocking stuff off the to-do list, working, very productive meetings with the team. We know where the brand is growing and going. I have time to think beyond my clients. but my clients are winning right now. Like, we're having extremely amazing results across the board with my clients. I'm super excited. Just got an update from a client who was in my mastermind that I got started, and gave her framework. She just crossed over $1 million in her business. She does an adult daycare facility, kind of like the home health care, but it's just a drop-in for adults who need to be supervised. And so she just crossed over $1 million. I think she's going to finish off around 1.3 this year. So things are amazing right now.
Good.
Still don't have no man, though.
Dating, though, yes?
Am I dating?
I'm asking.
I've gone out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is it so secretive for women? It's like, yo, are you seeing people? Are you trying to find friends or not?
I am right now with my personal life in dating. There is, I'm open. Like, I'm open and I have time. Like, I didn't even want to date months ago, for real. Like, you know, I get into this, I'm not even going to say that, but I didn't want to date some months ago. And now it's like, I want to date, and I want to date with a plan, with a purpose. And so I'm being very, you know, selective and taking my time. And I've been dating, you know, people who are amazing.
Yeah, you're dancing so bad right now. It's just like, just watch your words. I ain't mad at that.
I've been dating, you know, I mean, and you know, it just out here having fun with a purpose. You know what I mean? Not taking things so seriously, but being serious.
Yeah. Good. Okay.
What about you? How's your mental, emotional, financial? How much money did you make this month?
I thought you'd never ask. It's like, I don't know.
You don't know?
I'll wait till I have my meeting with my bookkeeper. You know what I mean?
But you just don't know how much money you make?
Money comes in every day.
Yeah, for me too. But I have a good idea on a pulse of how much money I've made this month.
I'll know at the end of the month. Well, I could say a number, but I'd be lying.
So everything doesn't calculate through your QuickBooks?
Well, I have multiple accounts. I have multiple QuickBooks. And so we consolidate all of. Making money isn't important. What's important is how much we net at the end of the month.
For sure. How much? Okay, so you don't know how much you're going to net.
Correct.
I understood.
Correct. So
but how much did you bring in?
I don't know. I mean,
how much did you bring in?
Something probably hit this morning that I didn't calculate. So I can't.
As of yesterday, how much money did you make?
I don't look at it like that. I look at it, but I don't look at it like that. But I do. I have multiple QuickBooks accounts for each company, and then my bookkeeper puts it on a report for each company. So
yeah,
I don't look at every.
You do monthly
QuickBooks
meetings
account.
with your bookkeeper?
Yeah, ideally, man. We sometimes we fall behind, and it'd be 45 days, whatever. But yeah, we try to schedule every single month because I need to know what's happening.
Yeah. I get a monthly report, and, you know, my stuff is pretty simple, but I get a monthly report, and we do more of a quarterly meeting. If things are moving heavily and I'm spending a lot of money, then we'll meet kind of bi-monthly, but for the most part, quarterly with the monthly report. She sends me this cute little Loom video explaining everything. She knows what my questions are now. Like, she knows, like, hey, Donni, this is what you're looking for, and we keep it moving, because I be hating all these meetings and stuff. And I get extremely anxious over meetings about money, about my money specifically, and seeing, like, you know, things that I've spent. And, you know, it's like we're ordering new client gifts and they call me and tell me how much it's going to be. I'm like, oh yeah, here's my card. And then it's like, oh, I want some stuff, custom stuff for Actionable CEO. And it's like, oh yeah, here's my card. And then I want this. And it's like, oh yeah, here's my card. And then you get the monthly report from the bookkeeper, and it's like, give me my card back.
We have to talk on a regular basis. And we talk throughout the month too, because sometimes, so there's like a section called like Ask Your Accountant, where it's hard to classify what it is. So if I can use my card today on something, and it doesn't automatically recognize what this is for.
For sure.
So I've explained it. If we don't, and I've been through this where I don't talk to whoever's handling my money for the quarter. And there's a laundry list of stuff that I got to remember for 90 days ago.
Listen, and it takes so long. I did that from 2020 to 2021, I think, was the year. It took forever to try to go out there and reclassify all those transactions. So I'm really good now at documenting, what stuff is in the app, and because that's the worst. And then you just start saying whatever.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, man, y'all prepare wherever you are financially or like in your business, you need to be able to get a handle on that now, because once it grows, it becomes almost impossible to get a handle on it. A friend of mine, a mentor of mine, he had a meeting with a very well-known billionaire, because he worked for a billionaire, and he kind of went off to do his own thing. And then this other billionaire called him and was like, yo, we need a CFO to come look at the books. He came and looked at the books. He was like, yo, it's an absolute mess. And you think somebody that's running a $1 billion company or worth $1 billion has the best finance, but there's levels to that too. So it's the more you have, and he says this all the time. Shouts out to my man Tony. He said, money hides all sins.
Money hides all sins.
Meaning,
break that down.
Meaning, the more money you make, it hides the issues that you have with your books. It hides the issues that you have with spending. It can hide, because you have so much coming in, it doesn't matter if you have bad spending habits or some things are slightly out of order, but because you make so much money, it's like, oh, I'm good. And it hides all of the things that that could potentially like cripple your company. But if you're good at bringing in money, it just hides all this foundational stuff that you don't have together. So, yeah.
I don't know that I like that. Money hides all sins.
Well, I mean,
maybe it hides
for this particular parable,
for this conversation.
Yeah. No,
I mean, you got to clarify, because
he's talking financial terms. Yeah. So the actual habits or health of the company, or the things that the company like overspending. If you're making more money, it hides that.
Yeah, I mean, and there are levels. There are levels. For some entrepreneurs, it could be that that extra Starbucks stop that you're making every single day, or you're treating your team to lunch every single week or every single day, all these snacks and all kinds of stuff. And then for others, it could be the company vehicle for this person, the pay raise for that person, the bonus for this person, the increase in salary here, and we're training in Brazil instead of Baltimore. There are levels to it, and literally it can get to the point, if you're not watching your money on some type of schedule, that one day you're going to look up and be completely overwhelmed, even if you have made a lot of money, because at the end of the day, the government requires you to account for every dollar.
100%. Which leads me to my next point. So in the morning meetup, we are reading Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. And I mean, first off, I love our community. And when we decided to read this book, there were some people that was like, oh my gosh, Dave Ramsey, I don't want to read this. But okay, let me get the mic. So we can have a conversation from one of the people that I sounded like just now. And I'm like, I don't agree with Dave Ramsey. And okay, I would love to hear Nella's perspective. Let's do this. Little mini hot seat real quick.
Oh, great.
Let's do this. Okay, when we announced the book, your thoughts were?
So when we originally had the conversation about reading the book, I was like, my first initial thought was, people are going to be livid. So there's going to be people that are not going to be happy that we're reading Dave Ramsey, and that this is going to be the book.
Why? Why would you say that?
One, because I know a lot of people feel that Dave Ramsey preys on our community when it comes to his theology in money. But then also because a lot of times people feel like that's just what he teaches is like the base level of financial literacy. Yeah. And it just keeps you at one place. It doesn't necessarily teach you how to, like we were saying earlier, he has a very strong belief in there's no such thing as good debt. But when you look at people who have built their wealth over time, you have to get a mortgage for properties and things of that nature. You have to, but it's how you handle that debt that makes it good or bad. And so I think a lot of people just feel his teachings are not necessarily, and I feel this way too, they're not necessarily very, what's the word I'm looking for, in depth. And it's just kind of a surface level of finances. Like maybe a college student could benefit from it, of how to manage their money. But when it comes to entrepreneurs and when it comes to, look, we in the adult world now, it's kind of a finance 101.
Gotcha. Okay. You have any debt?
I do.
How much you think?
Me solely, I have maybe about $800 debt.
$800 in debt? Really? You own your car?
I don't have a car.
You don't have a car?
I'm actually about to go get one after.
Oh, word. Congratulations. First off. Okay. You buying it cash or finance?
Depends. I have to test drive a couple cars.
Got it.
So it depends on the car that I pick, but I might buy it in cash, might not.
Gotcha.
Depends.
No credit card debt? Or the $800 is the credit card?
It's credit card debt.
Okay.
No student loans.
Okay,
I
cool.
paid my college all cash.
Gotcha. So, first off, you're somewhat living by his philosophy anyway. So his whole thing, well, not his whole thing, I want to give him credit, is he's like, get out of debt, stop putting stuff on credit cards, and there's no good debt, right? You should pay your house off because there's no good debt. Does anybody agree? No one agrees?
I think that it's a fact sorry, y'all. I think that it's a fact of, for me, when it comes to my debt, like if I take debt on, because I've been that person where I just spend using my credit card and I don't have the money to back it up. And I've had to learn that the hard way.
Yeah.
Like when I was in college, I lived off of my credit cards.
Let me ask you, not college, how many people do you think are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s still doing that?
Plenty of people.
Plenty of people. You don't have to raise your hand, but just feel guilty if you have credit card debt yourself right now. So it amazes me that how so many people that are not in a favorable financial situation are so critical of someone who's teaching you how to get out of your bad financial situation. And I think it may feel like he's preying on our community, but our community needs to hear that you need to stop getting in debt. You shouldn't use your credit card for gas. You shouldn't. You should, like he's saying, don't go out to eat all the time. Just stay home and cook and live below your means for a little bit. Now, for an entrepreneur, it may or may not work, but for that particular level, we say that that's preying on our community, but the people in our community are saying, go get into debt and finance this thing for some education. And we're like, let's do it. But that's not preying on our community. Our community says, buy courses on a credit card that you're never going to watch. But we don't look at it as preying on our community. And I don't think it is, but it's a little unfair for him that's giving good information for the average person. You don't have to follow every single step, but my brother started it and he got out of debt. I'd rather he be doing that than being in debt. So I think he's bringing awareness to finance. So I want to hear Donnie's perspective.
I think that you went from one extreme to the other in terms of going from Dave Ramsey, who promotes no debt, to these internet people trying to sell courses saying get in debt.
But I'm saying she's saying preying on the community, but we don't look at that as preying on the community.
Well, that's not terminology that I use, but I don't think that we don't look at that as preying on our community. I think it's very clear that people who are saying buy this stuff and get in this overwhelming debt just to help me make money, I think it's very clear and a general consensus that these people are preying on the community. With Dave Ramsey, what I wish he didn't do was speak in absolutes, meaning all debt is bad debt, or all of something is bad, all of something is good. Speaking in absolutes is very dangerous, because when you build a certain level of influence, you have people who hang on to your every single word, and they're taking this for the gospel. I believe that what Dave Ramsey teaches is valuable but incomplete.
Okay.
So I have clients. My clients, the Hartzogs, used Dave Ramsey's method to completely get out of debt, right? And when they came to me, they were completely out of debt, but they didn't really have a good grasp on making real money. And so we're talking about valuable but incomplete now. So we're teaching people about not using money for, and saying debt is bad, 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 bad. But if we didn't leverage some debt, they wouldn't be 7-figure income earners today, sure. Right? So again, valuable but incomplete. I think it's important. So it gets to the point sometimes where you just don't have time to teach every single piece of a thing. So you just pick the points that you want to teach. And he talks about, I love his method on paying off debt. I too believe that you should not be leveraging debt if you don't have any money to pay it back with, right? But I know that there are some educators out there that teach you how to leverage debt in a healthy way, and good debt is amazing. We hear it when we're talking about high-level millionaires and billionaires. None of them did that. None of them became that without leveraging debt. So I think when we're talking about preying on the community, we're teaching you no debt, no debt, no debt, no debt, no debt. But at the same time, with that mindset, there's no wealth, no wealth, no wealth, no wealth, no wealth. You're living a life where you're surviving, but now where comes the instruction on how to actually generate wealth? Dave Ramsey cannot tell me that he doesn't have one credit card in his pocket, but he teaches no credit cards.
Right. Okay. So your stance is you should leverage debt.
My stance is my stance is that Dave Ramsey's information is valuable but incomplete.
Name somebody who gives valuable and complete information.
Well, there probably isn't anybody who we're talking about in this parable for the sake of this conversation.
No, but I'm saying you're saying his information. We don't like his information because it's valuable but incomplete.
I didn't like his information. What I'm saying is, so Dave Ramsey has built this cult-like community. Mm-hmm. And if you go into his community and you say, oh, no, because credit is good, they're attacking you. Credit is not good. It's never good. You should live like a nomad and blah, 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 blah. And there should be some continued education. I know financial advisors who instruct, like, credit is amazing, but here are the prerequisites to qualify for this good debt. This is the place that you should be in to qualify for this good debt. They don't have the platform that a Dave Ramsey has. And even if I mentioned their name today, nobody would know where they are, who they are, and how to find them. So I don't know off the top of my head someone who teaches it like from a complete perspective, but I do know people who teach how to leverage credit or debt in a healthy way to build wealth. And part of their teachings is, but this is not for you if you hadn't first met these particular prerequisites. I mean, think about it. Like, without leveraging debt, which again, he speaks in absolutes, no debt, how do you become a real estate investor?
Well, here's my point. I think he's done a marvelous job of zeroing in on an audience and teaching them his philosophy. And I think his philosophy is right for that particular audience. Mm-hmm. So I would rather have someone thinking, okay, I don't want to do debt. I just want to like at least get to zero where I don't have any debt. I'm not below the line. I understand my buying habits. Mm-hmm. And that is his audience. The reason people are raving fans of that is because there's a lot of people who didn't know how dangerous a credit card could be in the hands of a child.
I agree.
So he's teaching people, okay, no debt. Debt is terrible. Stay away from the debt. And then in their mind, they're like, oh, I got to stay away from this debt. And they start to change their lives for the better by understanding financial principles.
Yeah. But
that takes that audience from step A to step B. Sure. Now, when somebody else comes along, Hartzogs, where they said, oh, I'm at step B now and I'm still afraid of debt. Now you can educate that person to say, okay, well, do you want to build wealth? We're under the assumption, maybe because we live in Atlanta, that everybody in the world wants to be entrepreneurs, or everybody's trying to build $1 billion portfolio, or everybody's trying to make millions. And that's not the case. Some people could live a very content life with not having the desire for all these flashy things. I don't have no debt. The money that I make, I can do it for, I have a plan for my vacation, leisure, all that kind of stuff. And I would imagine that his group, the people that like really look at him as gospel, are in a better financial situation than maybe even some of us entrepreneurs that are teaching people to go out and get it and grind. And it's going to work for a few people, for sure. It's going to work for some people, but there are people who mismanage the debt or they don't do it right. So we just tell people, okay, this is how you leverage. You take a loan from the bank, you get a car, and you rent it out. That's where we go with it. But nobody's telling somebody, all right, well, let's look at the 5-year lifespan of a car. Let's spend this amount of your money on investments. Nobody gives valuable and complete information.
No, but that still doesn't negate from the fact that Dave Ramsey's information is valuable but incomplete.
I understand it, but you were saying it as that's the defense for why we shouldn't listen to him.
Well, you asked me my opinion.
Yeah.
And so
I'm here to argue with you.
This is my opinion. My opinion is that his information is valuable but incomplete. My opinion is that if you are sold out, if you're only introduced to his information, it is true that not everybody wants to build wealth. Not everybody cares about that. There's a significant population of people who are completely fine being minimalist. They are not thinking about leaving any type of legacy. They're not thinking about an inheritance. I don't know that person who says, you know what, I want to have children, and when I die, I want to leave them nothing so they can figure it out on their own. I don't know anybody like that. There could be some people like that, but I do wish that his information was just a little bit more well-rounded, and because of the population that I represent, people who actually desire to build something beyond their lifestyle, people who actually desire to leave inheritances for their children, people who actually desire to send their kids to college, to purchase a home, to have a vehicle, to have these things, and they are potentially living very modest, financially modest lifestyles. I wish the information were just a little bit more well-rounded, or at least like some references like, okay, here's where you are once you've gotten out of debt. Now you should go and probably plug into this community. I don't teach it here, but you can get it there, right?
I think that's a bad branding move for him, though.
Well, you're right. I don't disagree with anything that you've said. I believe that Dave Ramsey gives incredibly valuable information. I do. But then my question comes in like, okay, if we're debt-free, if I were debt-free, I would not be financially who I am today. I would not have been able to do it without, honestly, no. I mean, there hasn't been a time in my life that I've been debt free, like no money. Where do you live? What do you drive?
Yeah, but I think his ministry is to say, let's pay off that house, let's pay off that car as soon as possible. Now, I have debt on my house. I have debt on my car. I do have one car that's paid off and one that's like halfway paid off, and I'm not paying off my student loan. Okay, I'm gonna pay that little $200-something every month, and I only owe maybe $18,000, something like that. So I'm keeping it. So I'm not saying that I'm living by his philosophy 100% because I know what I can do with cash. But if there has to be a wide net thrown out there for a group of people who are okay, how many people got credit card debt right now? So how many people, okay, and this credit card debt is personal debt. It's not business debt. Raise your hand. You got personal credit card debt. So I think there needs to be somebody that's telling you, yo, stop, don't buy that furniture on your credit card and start paying those monthly notes.
I agree with that. That's not my argument. I'm not saying that people should not be educated financially. I'm just saying that somebody should be saying, here's how you use debt responsibly. Here is how you use debt so that you can live a standard of life in the United States where the average income is so little that it can't afford the average cost of a home now, which is almost $500,000, right? You should use, I have credit card debt today. I also pay my credit card balances. I also have the cash to pay my credit card balances off in full. So I don't carry credit card debt, but as soon as I swipe the card, now I'm in debt, whether it's $300, $3,000, or $30,000. But I was taught responsibly. There was a time where I did not know anything about credit, did not know how to leverage it. The most financial education I had was how to calculate credits and debits in my check account register. That was the most financial education that I had. Nobody told me what percentage of money to save. It's just save. If you could just save $5 out of every check, you'll have blah, blah, blah. And I did that. And I went broke doing that, right? Because there was no way for me to ever get my head above water. Then I was introduced to personal credit cards. I was introduced to personal credit cards without any information, without any education. And it was like, now I have access to this extra money that I can just use. And in my mind, I thought I can pay it back. But when nobody connects the dots for you to say, well, your paycheck isn't even as much as this limit that they give you, then that's when you start building debt. I wish someone had told me, and I just heard that financial education is going to be a requirement in 2025 in schools. I wish we had that as a requirement when I was in school. So I ruined my credit. And you know what I had? The Dave Ramsey philosophy. Studied him. Okay, I'm going to snowball this money. I'm saving money in my envelopes, and I'm snowballing, meaning paying off the smallest debt, no matter how high the interest rate was on it, pay off the smallest debt to then use that and pay off the next one and the next one, until everything's paid off. And I got to the point where everything is paid off and I feel good, but my life is still not changing. I am still struggling. I've paid off all this debt. And these are also some people who are choosing, like, I can pay this debt or I can pay this electricity bill in full without an arrangement. Fast forward, I get more credit. What do I do? Because I still don't have the information. I know how to pay down the debt, but I don't know how to use the credit. And the only time my life seems to be changing is when I'm using the credit. I convinced myself that I'm going to live this cash only lifestyle, and I am not going to, if I can't pay for it in cash, I'm not going to get it. And I did that for years. 4 years. I started every single business I've ever started with cash. I multiplied the business with debt. And that didn't start for me until about maybe even 4 years ago. I was building my business incrementally, only with the cash, because I understood Dave's philosophy, and I just understood my own experience. But then I met someone who started to educate me about, no, credit's not bad. Your understanding of credit is what's bad. Your understanding of money is what's bad. Let me reframe your understanding and teach you how to use it. And I remember getting the first credit card, and it was like a $5,000 balance. And I called them and was like, can you reduce my balance to $1,500? Because I was so afraid of having that much debt on credit. And I'm using it and I'm using it, and I'm seeing these points add up, and I'm like, I get to use points to do this? You mean I can actually save money on travel? I can save money on groceries and gas? You mean I should actually be buying my gas on credit? I should actually have my Netflix bill on credit, because there are rewards that having debt actually gives you if somebody educates you. And we need more people educating.
Well, so I think that Dave is educating more people than many of us, even the people that you all look up to as entrepreneurs. And I think everybody has their place. So I don't think anything he's teaching is wrong. It depends on the person. So yeah. I think maybe 8 years old, I'm telling my daughter, because like they'll see stuff on TV and music. Sex is bad.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Like it's a bad thing, right? Now, by the time she gets older, it'll be a different message. But do I tell her, all right, sex is bad. However, when you find the right person and it hit, you find the right person, y'all got like a chemistry, that joint's lit. But don't do it right now, because you can't teach a child everything you're going to teach them as an adult. And most people are financial children. They just don't. I'm so glad my brother. And here's what's crazy. My brother went through the whole Dave Ramsey's course, and paying down his debt and all that kind of stuff. Now, he's getting to a point where he wants to build out his business doing HVAC, and I'm like, yo, you need to get. He's like, I'm gonna get a truck and I'm gonna buy one used. I'm like, bro, don't buy it used. Get like a new truck. That's good. Like it. Because you might spend more money fixing it up and all that kind of stuff. Let's get a new truck, get a little, it ain't gonna be a whole lot every month, but you can make the money on that. It looks clean, it looks, you know what I mean? Like we could wrap this joint, it'll be dope. And we go back and forth on this fight. And he's like, I'm not trying to get out of, I'm trying to get, I just got out of debt, I'm not getting in debt, nothing. I got the cash, I'm gonna buy something cash. I'm like, don't buy it cash. He buys the truck cash. And I help, and I told him if he gets a truck, because I'm like, if you're gonna get the truck and you're gonna build your business, I will pay to get it wrapped. I'll pay to get it, done. So he sends me a picture. Yo, I just bought this truck, bought it cash. Let's get it wrapped. And I'm looking at it like, bro, this joint is not. I don't know if we should wrap that. You know what I mean? I don't know.
It's not wrappable?
He said, nah. He said, nah, it's gonna be fine, bro. I'm telling you. He's like, all right, cool. Forget the wrap. He said, you just get it painted. So I guess they kind of knock out the dents or whatever, and they paint it. I look at it, I said, ooh, it looks good. He said, all right, so it's painted, and I'm gonna put some stickers on it. You know what I mean, like the little decals. And I thought to myself, I am so glad he went through that course, because at least he's being more careful with his financial future, and he's not all in like me. I'm, go get the truck. Let's go. I did it with that van. I just bought it. And I'm in debt. Okay, you know what I mean? But the fact that he's going through his own journey and that thing is working for him, my challenge with, when I talk about the book and I talk to people who I know are not in my situation, your situation, or Dave Ramsey's situation, they're saying, oh, Dave Ramsey is this and that. You need to read that book. I'm reading the book because there's some things that you are going to get from it. But if we go into it with a closed mind based on what we think some other high-level entrepreneur said about Dave Ramsey, we are going to be lost. I'm looking for the gems in that book too, even though I don't agree with everything, but I'm going in looking for stuff. There's some people that's going to read the book or listen to his podcast looking to debate, and that's dangerous.
For sure. Well, and that's the thing. You are going in, I believe everybody should read the book. I believe that when you are trying to have an understanding over most things, money included, that you should get a range of perspective. But I think that if you read Dave Ramsey's books, then you should also read John Hope Bryant's books.
100%.
We talked about who's a Black person who's teaching the community differently. I believe that John Hope Bryant has a great range of information. He covers bad debt. He covers good debt. He covers capitalism. He covers transitioning from a poor lifestyle into a wealthy lifestyle. I think it's just a great range. But even though he's very popular, anybody in here know who John Hope Bryant is? Raise your hand if you know who John Hope Bryant is.
That's incredible.
Did you raise your hand? We've got one hand raised. Raise your hand if you know who. It's just you. Raise your hand if you know who Dave Ramsey is. Every single hand in the room has gone up. So somehow we've got to do a better job at elevating our leaders who are creating a good, healthy, balanced perspective and educating in a way that we can still receive, we can still get out of debt, we can still build wealth. So there is somebody who's teaching a total perspective that I don't even know why that's
not teaching a total perspective.
Oh, he is teaching a total perspective.
No, he's not.
Yeah. He's teaching a different perspective than Dave Ramsey, for sure. In my opinion, and maybe it's based on where I am. Yeah, it's a great total perspective. But I'm not gonna let you play with John Hope Bryant's name like he's not doing an outstanding job in financial literacy.
I did not say he's not doing a great job, but he's not teaching the whole story. There's nobody that can. So, okay, so tell me what you learned from. Tell me what you learned.
Maybe not of the whole story. That's also an absolute. That's not good language to use. But I do think that John Hope Bryant gives an excellent understanding about what even is capitalism. I think he also gives an excellent understanding, like he has. I think the book is called How the Poor Affect Capitalism, something like that. Like, how do you fit into this whole equation? Most people don't know how we fit into the whole equation,
for sure,
right? And I love that he takes that perspective to say, hey, poor people make the world money, right? And in teaching that, and it's just as important to understand that, like, there is an entity, there's a group of people who want poor people to stay poor because it builds wealth for them. There is also an entity of people who want us to believe certain things about debt because they don't ever want us to be on their level. And that information is also important.
Yes. And first off, I am a huge fan of John Hope Bryant.
We both are, yeah.
But he is not teaching. It's valuable, but according to your standard, it's still incomplete.
Okay.
He's not teaching what to do with your paycheck and all that kind of stuff like Dave Ramsey's teaching. He's not teaching what to do with the money in terms of investing in the market like Trapp's teaching. He's not teaching how to leverage real estate and exactly what you need to do like Robert Kiyosaki. He's not teaching the stuff EYL's teaching. He's not teaching grass level.
Robert Kiyosaki teaching it?
I learned. I
he
learned.
ain't teaching black people. That's for damn sure. That's not his target audience. No, we're reading his information.
We can't say that either because
I
learned very valuable lessons from Robert Kiyosaki.
Right. Like
he said, I'm saying I'm a black person, and I learned from Robert. Have y'all ever read Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Everybody.
So everybody in this room is a black person.
Everybody's read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Somebody who has spoken very vocally about who his audience is and who his audience isn't, which means that if he's identified a certain group of people not being his audience, then he's written information in there for us to not be able to leverage in a certain way. Everybody knows who that guy is. Nobody knows who John Hope Bryant is. And and there's a significant number of people outside of this room that don't know who a Wall Street trapper is, but they know the guy who's wearing the bow tie with the suit, who's teaching stock tips that don't want us in the stock market, right? I think that there's no right or wrong here. Does Dave Ramsey have great information? Yes, he does. Does John Hope Bryant have it too? Yes, he does. But I think what we should be teaching people, regardless of the semantics of good debt, bad debt, is get a good understanding. Yeah. Like, get into communities where you can diversify your information because one person's perspective is never going to have all of the information, and they're basing it off of whatever. We don't know what the motives are. We don't know what the experiences are. We don't know what the understanding is. We have to do a good job of getting out there and reading a Dave Ramsey book but also reading John Hope Bryant and also picking up Trapp's information and also learning from this person and this person, so we can decide. We can actually look at it and say, okay, this even sounds like good information. Let me try it. Prove that it works. Let me try it. Prove that it doesn't work. And you take a piece of this and a piece of that and a piece of this, and you put it together.
Yes, that is my whole point. You rounded it out perfectly. That we have to go into gathering information to find out what we can get from it. And again, the only reason I'm having this conversation is because when I say Dave Ramsey, us in our community, we like turn our nose up at it, but I think it's not because of the information, it's because of the person that you're looking to, the person that's saying it, right? High-level entrepreneurs, I am a firm believer you should not use credit cards. I use a credit card every day. I don't even use debit cards. But if I'm talking to an audience of people who have a job or somebody that's not like, that isn't financially responsible and understand it, cut that card, please, because you don't know how to manage it. You're not responsible enough. So yes, Donni, I think she rounded it out perfectly, saying we need to gather information from everybody. And I am not financially successful enough to dismiss someone who apparently got it right whether it's John Hope Bryant or Robert Kiyosaki or Trapp or Ian Dunlap or EYL.
So I love that. So then my question becomes, I know that you guys are reading this book. What's the book that you're following that up with?
What do you mean?
In the meetup, we're talking about having a wide variety of information. I think it's responsible and important to follow it up with a different perspective.
Okay.
And then that opens up some great conversation.
Yes. Nella, what's the next book we're reading? Use the mic, use the mic, use the mic.
Next, can I say it? Because
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. Budgetnista's new book. She's dropping.
Love it.
That's going to be the next book.
Love it.
So we have for one, there's no right or wrong follow-up. We could have followed it up with How to Win Friends and Influence People or Rich Dad, Poor Dad or John Hope Bryant's book, or we read a bunch of books throughout the year because we don't know what you need. And there's no way to give someone a 100% understanding through information. You got to take a bit of what we're reading today and apply it to your life, and that's where you learn.
That's the part.
Yes.
That's the part. That's the part. That's the part. And honestly, what I noticed, and David, he has this cult-like following. It be people, he has soldiers in his army that will fight his battles and his comments that ain't paying off a single piece of debt. They're not snowballing anything. They just like the information because they're in debt. They don't know how to get out of debt. They're not making money to get out of the debt. They're not applying anything to the debt, but all they think now is debt is what got them here. No, your decisions got you there,
100%.
right? And they're in there, and we got to learn how to make better decisions. If I could say one thing as a result of this conversation, like most people couldn't even sit here and have this conversation because they don't know enough about money habits, credit, debt, all that good stuff. And what you should be getting from this is like, wow, I really need to stay in the lane of being educated.
100%.
Education is sexy. Education is cool. Education is the real freedom tool because you can only be as wealthy as the information you know. You cannot out-earn your understanding. And so now we got to get more understanding.
Yeah. And give me the book that had the greatest effect on you as an entrepreneur.
The Secret.
Secret.
The Secret had the greatest effect on me, and I believe because it was the first, right? It's kind of like
That was the first book you read, like cover to cover?
No, it's not. I grew up reading books. I'm an avid book reader. It's the first book that I read about personal development. Before that, I was an avid novel reader. I liked mystery books and romance novels and all that stuff. And, you know, that's why I have a great vocabulary because I read books. And it doesn't matter what kind of books you read. They use great words and you start to learn them.
All right. I mean, you know how to spell good.
I do know how to spell well. Okay. But seriously, and I believe that's where I have reading books is what's allowed me to be able to tell stories that, you know, connect, and you know how to take a reader or a listener through a story. But anyway, The Secret, because that was the first book that I read that was like, oh, wow, there's a whole other world that I didn't know about. And there are ways to access it in ways that I didn't even know about. Like before reading The Secret, I was hoping for a lot of things, wishing for a lot of things, asking for a bunch of incomplete thoughts. And The Secret really allowed me to, number one, become unafraid in speaking my desires out loud, which has helped me significantly. It's also helped me become very aware of my own personal power to make something happen. And I think a lot of people are where they are because they underestimate their personal power. And The Secret really highlighted that for me. And it made it clear, like, these visions that I was having were really aspirations and manifestations, like these things that you lay in bed and you daydream about. It goes from a daydream into a manifestation. And that was the book that really lit a spark under me that said, it was how I was introduced to Bob Proctor, who is one of my favorite belief coaches of all time. But it made me believe in myself at a higher level. I don't think I ever not believed in myself, but it surely made me believe in myself at a higher level. And I was stuck on that book for like 3 years straight. I listened to it every day. I read the book, but I listened to the audio or let the documentary play in the background for 3 years straight every single day.
Good. And you've read, I would imagine, dozens, maybe hundreds of books since then, right? And I'm sure you've gathered information. It's so crazy, man, because there are like secrets in these books that will lie there until you pick up the book. The sad part is, we're just never going to pick up the book.
We're never going to pick up the book.
So you ever read something, you're like, ooh, this was crazy. You would have never, if you didn't decide to pick up that book, you would have never found that. There are some chapters, sentences, like a paragraph, a philosophy in books that have changed my life. I forget 95% of the stuff in every single book because we read so many. But I take one gem from here, one gem from there, and you become a better storyteller, a better communicator, and you're able to pull the thing that you read and bank it off of an experience, and it creates a philosophy. And this is how you become more prolific, and this is how you build stuff and get this mindset moving the way it should be. So I encourage everybody, man. I know it sounds so cliche, but reading is fundamental, man.
I don't understand communities that are like educational communities that don't have a built-in like book club.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, how are you educating people? How are you getting people to believe in one idea without like some supporting documentation outside of yourself? Because most of the thoughts that we have are not new thoughts. There's information out there to support it. But like they say, there's a saying that says, if you want to hide money from somebody, put the information in a book. You want to hide the secrets from somebody, put the information in the book. And the answers really are in the books. And I think anybody who's building community in a way that is meant to educate and empower, you got to have your people reading books. 100%. You just have to. And that's not even a perk. It's just a requirement. Like, you have to have people reading books.
I think the most genius thing that we've done was we have a book club and we're all reading the same chapter. But every single day we talk about what we read the night before. So one thing of gathering information is reading it. Another way of gathering information and almost cementing it a little bit is highlighting.
Yep. Because
this now stands out to you and you're doing another activity with the information that you read. So I'll read something and I'll out loud be like, ooh. Then I'll repeat it and then I'll highlight it. But every morning we talk about the chapter and this is our takeaways and we start having discussions around it. So even if you're not in Actionable CEO or a morning meetup, you and your friends need to have a book club and be engaged with the information because Donnie's gonna get a different perspective on the same chapter that I got, and we can have a conversation about it, and it cements the information in our brain. So it's so valuable. I can't stress it. We're just in this world of we'll tune into an Instagram live, but we're not gonna read a book. We'll watch a video on YouTube, but we're not gonna read a book. You'll be watching this podcast. We hope that you go get Dave Ramsey and John Hope Bryant's book and The Secret and engage with some information so you can at least join a conversation.
Yeah, at least join the conversation, you guys. So the interesting thing is people will sit on YouTube and scroll for days looking for information. And then you got to challenge that information and know, if what's right. And not to say that everything written in books are right, but here is something. These educators that you're looking up to with this information, for the most part, guess where they got their information from? A book. Yeah. You can be on that level, on the level you're looking to get on much faster if you would pick up a dang on book, right? Pick up the book and read the book. And not only read the book, but to your point, talk about the book. Like, sometimes it's even important to read a passage out loud. Like, you'll say things sometimes and I'm like, wait. And I repeat it back out loud because I need to process it more than the silent mental processing. Sometimes you got to do that same thing in a book. And Dave likes to highlight in his book. I like to write notes in a journal about my book. I write down the name of the book and I write something down. But another step further than that too is in your conversation that you're having about these books and these pages. Don't try to be a speed reader because you're going to miss the details. You got to talk about the details of the book, but how does it apply to your life? How does it apply to you? Or how are you going to take that information and now apply it to your life? So there's like books like one of my favorite business books is Traction. Love that book, right? You're reading the book and it's teaching you about the entrepreneur's operating system. It's teaching you about putting together your organizational charts. And the average person is just going to read that page from page 1 to the end of the book. The better thing to do is to stop and say, oh, this is good. Let me go out and apply this real quick. And then you come back and you pick the book up. And, oh, let me stop here. Let me go apply this real quick. We're taking too long. The book is not exciting for you because you're not getting a result from it. The book is not exciting for you because you're just reading about somebody else's progresses and philosophies. If you stopped and actually executed and implemented that information, the book's going to be exciting. If you stopped and actually processed, like, oh, we read The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. And the book is a life-changing book. It doesn't even sound like a book that you would buy, right? One of the most powerful books. And it's about this guy who's an attorney. He is on this journey. He's very, very notable in his industry. And one day he has a heart attack in the courtroom. And he goes through these experiences now to save his life and realizing, like, my whole purpose has been to chase accolades and money and get into the next level of status. Well, when you hear him say that, that's when you stop and say, wait a minute, that kind of feels familiar. That's me. He, at some point, reached the height of his career, had all the women. That was success to him. He had all the women, all the money, all the cars, the lifestyle. But something terrible happened that he could have prevented. Let me check myself real quick. Let me change some habits. Let me shift some things. We got to get educated, whether it's Dave Ramsey, John Hope Bryant. We mentioned Budgetista's book. We mentioned The Secret, whatever that is for you, whatever you believe, you got to base your belief on more information than the first information that you heard. So if Dave Ramsey is your first introduction to financial literacy, consider learning from somebody else. Google search. Who thinks differently? What financial educator thinks differently than Dave Ramsey? Go buy their book.
Yo, I just thought about something, and I was, while you were talking, I said to myself, we need to maybe spend 30 minutes or so reading every day. But that would be challenging. Like, think about your schedule. Challenging, right? But go, if you have an iPhone, what I want you to do is go to your settings. Let's do this together. Let's do it as a community, okay? Let's go to settings, and mine's is in the second group. You see screen time? You see it? Okay. You see screen time? Everybody good? You got it? Okay. And then hit see all activity. And I just want y'all to, because that first one's probably Instagram, ain't it? Is it? Is it Instagram, TikTok? Which one? It's Instagram. Okay. Click Instagram, right? And what does that daily average say? Just shout it out. Hours. Huh? Okay, I understand. No, somebody got defensive. Oh, no, but it includes when I'm listening to okay.
On Instagram?
Instagram. Yes. So you're not on it like that, maybe. Okay, but what does the number say? 6 hours, 17 minutes, what? 54 minutes? Good for you. Daily average? Daily average. Not today, because mine's is 2 minutes for today. Daily average. 3 hours, 45 minutes. Nella? I don't care. What's the number? What's the number? 10, a daily average. Okay, well, she's a social media manager, so I get it. But I'm looking at it, and I'm like, yo, this is insane, because that's the daily average. But Sunday was a lot higher. Wednesday was a lot higher, which means it goes up and down. Am I right? Y'all see the little bars? So, and this all happened while Donni was talking. At the bottom, it says limits. And I started looking at that thing, and I said, wow, this is incredible. And I just set a limit, because mine's just 3 hours and 38 minutes on Instagram. I just set my limit to 2 hours. Now, I don't know how this operates, whether it's just running in the background or it's like it's actually on that front screen. But this was my decision, to put some sort of gate or a cap on things that don't serve me. Instagram doesn't. And some of us may say, well, we do it for research, a percentage. Some of it. You're not researching. You might convince yourself that you're researching on the Shade Room. Am I right? I don't follow the Shade Room. But I be going on that page though. I make myself feel better because I don't follow them, but it's still my level of entertainment. So my point is, maybe we should put some sort of limit on that social media app. And I don't know. This is my first time ever seeing this, so I'm trying it. And
What's your daily average?
3 hours and 38 minutes. I'm thinking, I scaled it down to what?
Mine is 4 hours and 2 minutes.
It's not bad. We're around the same time though.
Yeah, but this is disgusting to me.
Right, but I just set mine for, at first I put 1 hour. I was like, ooh, I'm about to Dave Ramsey this thing. I'm going extreme. But then I moved up to 2 hours. I said, and I don't know, is there going to be a prompt that says, yo, you're at 2 hours? Well, I think what I'm going to do, and again, I just came up with this while Donni was talking because I was inspired, but maybe when I see that, that's a prompt to do something. That's a prompt to put on an audiobook. That's a prompt to spend the next 20 minutes reading.
Okay, what'd you set your limit to?
2 hours.
Okay, I'm doing it.
Let's do it.
Does that mean that, like, is this gonna give me a alarm or something?
I don't know. I just saw it today, like just now. I just saw it.
Oh, it's gonna sign me out?
This is me learning in real time. Hold on, let me close it real quick. Just make sure.
Oh, is it running in the background? Let me close it.
We don't know. Mike. Well, I don't listen.
Okay, but you can customize the days, and on Sunday I'm a gram. Okay. On Sundays I'm gonna give myself 4 hours.
This is lit. Yeah, I'm telling you, I just saw that. So this whole conversation is helping me be a little more intentional, and I'm anxious to see how it operates. Yes. Let's use the mic. Use the mic real quick.
Thank you. I'm anxious to be a part of this because I have an Android.
Yep.
So I haven't been able to take part of this entire time.
There got to be a screen time on it
just
somewhere.
Google screen time.
You said if you got an iPhone, everybody take it out. Every single body got an iPhone. I'm like,
hey man, you're making bad decisions with your life, brother. I don't know what to do with that. I can't help that. It's in there somewhere. Search. Do me a favor. Is there a search function on your phone?
Go to settings.
Go to settings. Right.
And then go to, it says, do you have digital well-being and parental controls?
Yes.
Go there. Tap the menu icon.
Tap the menu icon. I mean, is this kind of how it look like?
Yeah, 1 hour.
1 hour and 10 minutes.
Good for you, man. She stopped advising him and everything. She said,
You got it. You found it?
And maybe.
I think so.
Well, but then you got to toggle on daily. So manage your data, then toggle on daily device usage, and it's going to break it down for you there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Some of you all's, the major issue isn't Instagram. Maybe it's YouTube.
Maybe it's porn.
Maybe it's Pornhub.
App screen.
How many? Okay, do they got an app?
Let me see.
You wouldn't know. Don't act like you don't know.
Let me see if they got an app. Porn apps.
Maybe yours is the porn app.
Isn't OnlyFans is an app?
OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Okay, let's check your Only. You just gave it away, brother. You should have seen his face. As soon as he said OnlyFans, he was like, oh, dang.
Dang.
Turn the air on, please. Yeah, so I don't know what it is for you, but we've got to make decisions to get the information. Otherwise, we'll be entertained our entire lives, and entertainment has a cost to it, even if it's free. There's a cost to this thing.
Excuse me, real quick. Do y'all know each other? Yes. Y'all together? Oh, okay. Listen, I put 2 and 2 together, and it's always 4. I'm looking at the QT cups.
2 and 2 ain't never not been 4.
2
You hear
and 2
me?
ain't ever not been 4. I'm just, y'all are intentionally sitting on opposite sides of the room, but they're both drinking out of QT cups.
I want you.
He over there keeping it real low key right now.
You put 2 and 2 together.
I put 2 and 2 together.
Goodness
I saw somebody else with that cup. Let me look around.
Listen, man.
Okay.
Social Brew
But then
Podcast.
when you do stuff like that and you're intentionally sitting on opposite sides of the room, it's like we're going to go together, but we ain't going to go in together.
Hey, listen to me, man. Listen to me. Social Brew Podcast has a tendency
Y'all dating?
to put people together.
No, not dating. Did you think y'all were dating? Okay.
Okay. All right. So, let me ask this question. No. If after this he asks you, like, yo, can we go? I like our relationship. I like to take you to dinner. What would be your answer? Yeah, it wasn't no. It wasn't no. That's all we needed. I understand. It doesn't matter. That's the right answer.
Y'all
Ain't
were
it?
good. Would you ever ask her to dinner?
Yeah, would you?
No.
Okay.
No,
okay.
no.
I'm talking about dinner in a movie, though.
Not like, yo, I'm about to grab something, meet me.
You wouldn't take it to a movie?
Let me ask you this. Are you
don't
dating?
like movies?
Are you
It's not your
single?
thing?
Are you single? And y'all would go to dinner.
I'll go to dinner.
Y'all have been to dinner.
Okay. Hey, listen.
Would y'all go to dinner?
Hold on. Okay, let me ask you. What did you wear to that dinner? Get her the mic. Give her the mic real quick. Give her the mic. Yeah, what did you wear to that dinner?
So last night we went to dinner.
Last night.
I had on leggings.
Last night.
Leggings.
And a tank top and some slippers.
Oh.
Slippers.
See, that's the problem. You ain't you know what I mean? Get yourself right. What you mean slippers?
Slippers?
No,
Do you mean flip-flops or house shoes?
Nah, bruh.
Really, they were house shoes. And I was thinking I was underdressed.
You ain't concerned about being
on, man. You
snatched
need
up at all, huh?
I'm just working on my business.
That's what they all say.
So we had some amazing people here a couple of weeks ago who sat in this very same spot.
Stop biting your lip. Calm down. You're giving it away. It's all good.
They were friends
Goodness
too.
gracious.
They knew each other. They were friends, and they hang out too. And they came back 3 weeks later and were an item. So I'm just. Social Proof not only teaches you business and gives you some financial and educational and entrepreneurial social proof, but we are also proof that love does exist and connections can be made in this room. Whether you're looking for your next business partner or life partner, you can get it right here in Social Proof.
Give them a round of applause, y'all. Y'all clapped it up too. Look at y'all. I'm not mad.
He is blushing, yo. Do you see the rosy in his cheeks? She like, I knew you wanted me. I knew it. She over there kicking that foot like,
but when y'all get together, you gotta stop with them leggings and flip flops and all that though.
And no, it wasn't even flip flops. It was slippers,
Yeah,
and
you
she
need to cut
said
that out.
house shoes.
Don't get too comfortable. Stay on your game. Stay on your game. Okay. Anyway, this is a good conversation.
This was good.
Yeah.
This was good. Get your education together. Get your money together. Prioritize money. Make money and learning about your money.
Yeah.
Your priority.
Any questions? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Do we have any questions?
Any questions, comments?
Biggest takeaway from today?
Anything you think we might argue about? I'm kind of ready to argue with somebody.
Bree.
Me and Dottie got on the same page, so I couldn't really get it in. Love a good argument.
Love a good debate.
This is about the Dave Ramsey book, going back to that conversation. As a profession, I do business funding. So I find it ironic that there was a lot of pushback about the book, saying no debt. But when I speak to a lot of people in the morning meetup and in the community at large, they generally don't like using other people's money, or they have so many reservations about it or so much fear surrounding it. But then they're also fighting using cash. But that's really what they're doing mostly that I'm running into. They're using the money to start their business. They're using money to try to grow their business. And when I say, hey, use other people's money so you can leverage that to grow faster, well, I'm afraid of being in debt. Well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay it back. Or they have a lot of reservations, but then at the same time, they're fighting the book. So I found that very ironic, basically. And I didn't understand why there was so much pushback, because as a professional, when I'm saying, hey, you know, get a business loan, get a business line of credit, or get a business credit card, they don't want to do it. So I to your point, I also found it ironic, because I read Dave Ramsey's book many years ago. Yeah. So,
but even some of those people, it's not like all those people are saying, I don't want to get a loan because I don't want to go into debt. They may have mounds of debt already. And some people don't want to leverage credit because they know how dangerous credit has been for them. So that's why they're not getting a loan. Or that's why they're not. So maybe there needs to be another conversation of, all right, let's get to the real root why you're afraid of debt. Because they may be up to their neck in debt, and that's the issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
not their financial
reasons,
literacy saying, no, I'm going to pay everything off. They might have so much, and they're like, yo, me putting something else on top of this will kill me.
Yeah, those instances we do see, obviously, in the application. So we would know that. But there's also a sector of people who are saying, you know, my business is doing well right now, so I won't use other people's money. But then when it runs out, then they're like, hey, what can you do for me tomorrow?
You can't get it.
Then you don't qualify. So, yeah, we're not talking about the extreme, like Donni said, you know. But like I said, I just found it ironic about the book. Just a lot of people to say they don't, they don't like the book, but then they're really following or need to follow what's in the book because they're not using the business, other people's money anyway.
100%. 100%. And I will tell you that there are levels to financial literacy. And there's a level that me personally, I'm not on yet. And I'm still learning. I'm still learning, man. I mean, controlling spending and controlling investing. Sometimes I'm over leveraged in investments. So every time Terica calls me with an investment, it's always $100 and something thousand. She'll never call me for $10,000. Oh yeah, like, yo, we about to invest in this joint, take $10,000. It's always like $100 something. And my philosophy is I'll put the money out there, because if it's in my account, I'm gonna spend it. But when I have less money in my account, I get nervous, I tighten the belt a little bit, and I go make more money. So this is kind of something that I'm doing, but even how taxes are managed, and there's a bunch of things that me personally, I'm on a journey of learning, and I understand that sometimes the basic foundational principles, and they're like, yo, Dave, why are you such a big component of Dave Ramsey? Even though I'm in a different situation, I know that some of my high level problems are some foundational issues that I need to learn. And I need to find, what am I doing foundationally that I can fix? So
I did not know that you were such an advocate for Dave Ramsey.
I'm not an advocate. Kinda. Because that's what saved me when I was working at the Cheesecake Factory, just learning a few of these things.
But then you get out here and you start making money and you start wilding.
I wasn't wilding.
Oh my God, you were buying a Rolex every quarter.
They're investment pieces.
Oh, they're investment pieces now? Just last week you said, I don't really know if this is an investment the way it's supposed to be an investment.
I shouldn't have.
And that's the exact thing that I'm talking about. You leveraged Dave Ramsey. He helped you at a time, but as soon as you touched some money, you were out of control.
But I never went broke.
You didn't go broke, but you had to keep making money.
But also, I took $500,000 and paid off this building. So that's a Dave Ramsey move.
Yeah, that's cool. But you were also at Fendi and Louis Vuitton and Gucci, like daily at a point. But
every single month, I paid off every single one of my credit cards.
I understand, but you had the credit cards.
Yeah.
And this is what I am talking about. Like, we got to, when we have people in a cage to hear our information, as soon as we open the gate, there should be some direction.
But in that time of my life where I'm living by this debt-free philosophy,
at that time
it worked
of your life,
I had to learn this foundational lesson first. Now that I am an entrepreneur and I understand how credit works, I'm still using some of those principles and some of those philosophies that I learned when I was like, yo, I got to get out of debt. I got to pay off these credit cards. I had all my credit cards on this whiteboard when I was in my one-bedroom apartment, and I had the amount, and I had how much I had the limit, how much I owed, and the limit and how much I owed. So I would write that on my board as a reminder. And my objective was not even to pay them all off. I think I heard in Dave Ramsey's thing, or somebody that talked about credit, where you shouldn't be above 20% or 30% or whatever, something like that.
30%.
So my objective on this board, and I had to write down how much do I need to pay to get to 30%. I'm like, all right, so I'm gonna pay these off in this order. Okay, this one's under 30. Now I'll start paying a minimum. This one's under 30 because I wanted to increase my credit. And then I started eliminating all of the debt. But I was like, okay, I can't get in more debt to get out of this debt at that time. So I would work my shift at the Cheesecake Factory, take my cash, and my job would fund my business. So I'd buy some T-shirts. And then my next goal was to not take money from my job to buy T-shirts. If I have 100 and I sell them all for $20, I got 2,000. Let me take that whole 20,000 and invest it in a business so I can. And this is a journey. This is a constant journey of not just Dave Ramsey, not just Robert Kiyosaki, not just Susie Orman, not just watching I used to turn on CNBC and just watch the little ticker. I
The ticker at that bottom. Didn't know what any of it meant.
I was just watching. I felt
But it
smarter.
was important.
Yeah,
We
for
knew that it
sure.
was important for sure.
It's a journey, man.
It's definitely a journey.
And we're still
How y'all
on
feel
it.
about the episode? Any other questions, feedback? Let us know in the comments. Where are you in your financial journey? Are you somebody who's team Dave Ramsey? Or are you understanding that debt is actually a positive tool if educated and used correctly? Let us know where you are. We want to know. We want to hear from you.
Like, subscribe. Like Donnie said, please, please, please leave a comment. Do me a favor while y'all all right here. Pull out your phone, go to YouTube. Leave a comment about this past Thursday's episode, whether you watched it or not. Okay, if you watched it, just comment what your thoughts were. If not, just be like, yo, this was amazing. Just put it in there, okay?
Yeah.
So right now, as you're watching this episode, just put some comments in
Just
there.
go to the other episode.
Absolutely. We love y'all, man. Make sure y'all follow, subscribe, and we're going to continue to add value to your lives.
Always, always, always. We are not stopping anytime soon, and neither should you.
Facts.
See you next week.
Peace. If you like the video that you just watched, click this one. You're going to like this one, maybe even more. Click it right now.